The deception begins. Admiral Isabella Rodriguez stood at the observation deck of Lunar Command, her weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as she watched the last of Earth's obsolete warships being towed toward their designated positions in the Kuiper Belt. The massive vessels, each nearly 2 kilometers long, moved slowly through space, their hulls deliberately scarred and aged to perfection. Status report on the artificial weathering process, she spoke into her neural link, her dark eyes fixed on the distant ships. Phase 3 complete, Admiral, responded Captain Raj Patel from Engineering Control. The quantum metamaterials are responding perfectly. To any external scan, these ships will appear to be running on primitive fusion drives and outdated weapons systems. Isabella allowed herself a slight smile. The greatest deception in human history was unfolding exactly as planned. For the past decade, intelligence probes had detected the expansion of the Nexus Dominion, an advanced alien civilization that had already subjugated 12 star systems. Their technology appeared impressive, their ships gleaming examples of engineering superiority. But humanity had learned long ago that appearing strong often made you a target. "Show me the internal systems," she commanded, and a holographic display materialized before her, showing the true nature of what lay beneath those weathered hulls. Quantum processors that made the Dominion's best computers look like children's toys. Weapon systems that could bend space itself. And most importantly, the stasis chambers that would house the crews, keeping them in perfect suspension until the moment they were needed. The door to the observation deck slid open, and Director Thomas Blackwood of the Human Defense Initiative entered, his synthetic leg making a soft whirring sound as he walked. "The Dominion scout ships have entered the Oort cloud," he announced without preamble. "They'll reach the outer marker of our territory within 72 hours. Isabella nodded, having expected this news. "And our bait?" "The research station on Pluto is transmitting exactly what we want them to see. All indicators suggest we're a civilization in decline, clinging to our old warships out of sentiment rather than tactical value." The plan had been years in the making. While other species raced to display their technological prowess, humanity had chosen a different path. They would appear to be stagnant, even regressing. Their ships would look like relics, their weapons outdated, their defenses minimal. It was a gamble, but one based on a deep understanding of psychology, both human and alien. "Director," Isabella turned from the window, her uniform crisp despite the late hour, "have you reviewed the latest simulations?" Thomas activated his own holographic display, showing the projected movements of the Dominion fleet. "They're proceeding exactly as predicted. Their cultural database shows a consistent pattern of dismissing seemingly inferior civilizations. They won't be able to resist the urge to protect us from ourselves." "And the Void Swarm?" Thomas's expression darkened. "Still consuming everything in its path. The Dominion is so focused on expansion they haven't even noticed the real threat approaching from the galactic core. Our long-range quantum sensors suggest we have perhaps 5 years before it reaches their territory." Isabella walked to the tactical display, studying the movements of both the Dominion and the approaching horror that they tracked in secret. The Void Swarm had already consumed 3 advanced civilizations, leaving nothing but dead worlds in its wake. The Dominion, in their arrogance, thought themselves invincible. They would learn too late that their technology wasn't enough. "Begin final preparations for Operation Silent Vanguard," she ordered. "I want all crews in stasis within the week. When the Dominion arrives, they need to find exactly what they expect, a collection of outdated warships maintained by automated systems, nothing more than a museum of human military history." As if to emphasize her words, another massive warship drifted past the observation window, its hull bearing the artificial scars of centuries that had never passed. Inside its quantum-shielded core, technology beyond the Dominion's comprehension hummed quietly, waiting for the moment when humanity would reveal its true face. "It goes against every military instinct," Thomas mused, watching the ship pass. "Hiding our strength instead of displaying it. That's exactly why it will work, Isabella replied. The Dominion believes that every species thinks like they do, proud, eager to display their power. They'll never suspect that we've spent a decade deliberately appearing weak, waiting for the right moment to show our true capabilities. The first reports from the Dominion scout ships began flowing into the command center. Isabella read them with satisfaction as the aliens dismissed Earth's fleet as primitive and maintained out of mere sentiment. Every assumption they made, every dismissive comment, was another strand in the web of deception that humanity had woven. The greatest warships humanity had ever built continued their slow drift into position, appearing to all outside observers as nothing more than relics of a civilization past its prime. But beneath their weathered exteriors, they represented humanity's greatest achievement, not just in technology, but in strategy and patience. The trap was set. Now they only had to wait for the Dominion to spring it. Shadows of progress. Deep within the quantum-shielded laboratories of Mars Base Epsilon, Commander Marcus Kane watched as his team conducted the final tests on the fleet's stealth systems. The massive underground facility hummed with energy as advanced holographic displays showed real-time data from the seemingly derelict ships now positioned throughout the solar system. "Run the quantum signature test again," he ordered, his cybernetic eye whirring as it adjusted to focus on the microscopic fluctuations in the energy patterns. "The Dominion sensors are more sophisticated than we initially thought." Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of the Quantum Physics Division, nodded and initiated the sequence. Her hands moved gracefully over the holographic controls as she fine-tuned the metamaterial responses. "Their latest scout ship passed within 10,000 kilometers of the Perseus," she reported. "Their scans showed exactly what we wanted them to see, a fusion reactor barely maintaining minimal power." Marcus smiled, remembering how the Perseus had been their first test bed for the new technology. Behind its seemingly corroded hull plates lay a quantum reactor capable of powering a small city, its energy signature masked by layers of advanced stealth systems. "Update from the Kuiper Belt Station," announced Lieutenant Maria Vega, her voice tight with excitement. "The Dominion's expansion fleet has claimed another system. They're now just 2 jumps from our territory." The news sent a ripple of tension through the laboratory. The Dominion's pattern was becoming clear: they would establish a presence in nearby systems, dismiss any indigenous technology as primitive, then move in to protect the inferior civilization. Their arrogance was their weakness, and humanity had spent years learning to exploit it. "Show me the latest Void Swarm data," Marcus commanded, and the main display shifted to show a mass of darkness moving through the galaxy, consuming everything in its path. The image came from their quantum entanglement sensors, technology that the Dominion didn't even know existed. "It's accelerating," Dr. Tanaka observed, her face grim. The last civilization it encountered lasted barely a week. Their defensive technology was comparable to the Dominion's. Marcus accessed the secure feed from the stasis chamber testing facility. Rows of pods lined the massive underground chamber, each containing a volunteer crew member in perfect suspension. The latest tests had shown they could be awakened and combat-ready within minutes, their minds and bodies preserved in a state of quantum stasis that defied conventional physics. "Status report on the crew integration protocols," he requested. "All systems nominal," responded Captain Fatima Hassan from the medical division. "The neural links are maintaining perfect synchronization even in stasis. When we wake them, they'll be able to operate the ship's advanced systems immediately." A priority alert flashed across Marcus's neural interface. Admiral Rodriguez was calling an emergency meeting of the project leaders. The quantum secure channel activated, and her holographic form appeared in the center of the laboratory. "The Dominion has accelerated their timetable," she announced without preamble. "Their main fleet will enter our system within 3 months, not 6 as we originally projected. Are we ready?" Marcus looked at his team, saw the determination in their eyes. "The deception is perfect, Admiral. The quantum stealth systems are operating beyond specifications. They see exactly what we want them to see, a civilization that appears to be centuries behind them technologically. And the crews? The stasis systems are ready. We can have the entire fleet manned and operational within minutes of your command. Isabella's hologram nodded, her expression serious. The Void Swarm has changed course. Our latest projections show it will reach Dominion space within 3 years. We're running out of time to prepare them for the real threat. The irony wasn't lost on anyone in the room. The very civilization that dismissed humanity as primitive would soon need their help to survive. But first, they had to be shown the truth, in a way that would shatter their arrogance without destroying their civilization. Begin final preparations, Isabella ordered. I want all crews in stasis within the week. When the Dominion arrives, they need to find exactly what they expect, a collection of outdated warships maintained by automated systems, nothing more than a museum of human military history. As the Admiral's hologram faded, Marcus turned to his team. You heard her. Let's make sure our sleeping giant is ready to wake up when the time comes. The next weeks were a blur of activity as crews were cycled into stasis and the final adjustments were made to the fleet's deception systems. The Dominion scouts became more frequent, each dismissive report adding to their false sense of superiority. In the darkness of space, humanity's greatest fleet waited silently, its true power hidden beneath a carefully crafted mask of age and decay. The stage was set for a revelation that would shake the galaxy to its foundations. The storm gathers. The holographic display in the Titan Command Center cast an eerie blue glow across Admiral Rodriguez's face as she studied the latest data from the quantum long-range sensors. The Void Swarm's destruction of the Centauri Collective was complete, another advanced civilization reduced to lifeless worlds in a matter of days. Play it again, she ordered, her voice barely masking her concern. The recording showed the final transmissions from the Collective's defense fleet. Their most powerful weapons, comparable to the Dominion's best technology, had barely slowed the cosmic horror that consumed everything in its path. Captain Viktor Petrov, her tactical advisor, manipulated the controls to highlight specific moments in the battle. The Collective's quantum shields failed within minutes, he reported. Their energy weapons had no effect on the swarm's adaptive defenses. And the Dominion remains blind to all of this? Completely, Admiral. They're so focused on their expansion that they've ignored all signs of the approaching threat. Their latest diplomatic transmission still demands our immediate surrender and integration into their empire. Isabella allowed herself a grim smile. The Dominion's ultimatum had been exactly what they expected, arrogant, dismissive, and utterly ignorant of the true balance of power. Their sensors had detected no signs of resistance preparation, no hidden weapons platforms, nothing but old ships barely maintained by automated systems. The massive underground command center buzzed with activity as technicians and officers monitored the final phases of Operation Silent Vanguard. On the main screen, a real-time display showed the positions of humanity's disguised fleet. Each vessel appeared as nothing more than space debris to the Dominion's advanced scanners. Status report on the Lazarus Protocol, Isabella demanded, referring to the emergency backup system that would allow the fleet to restore power to disabled enemy vessels. Final tests complete, Admiral, responded Dr. Tanaka's hologram as it materialized nearby. The quantum resurrection fields can reactivate any ship we disable. When the time comes, we won't just defeat the Dominion, we'll be able to save them from their own arrogance. A priority alert flashed across multiple screens. Lieutenant Commander James Foster, head of Deep Space Surveillance, straightened at his station. Multiple quantum ruptures detected, Admiral. The Dominion's main battle fleet has begun its approach. Estimated arrival time, 48 hours. Isabella activated the fleet-wide neural link, her consciousness connecting with every ship's quantum core. The sleeping crews remained in perfect stasis, their minds linked to their vessels through technology that the Dominion couldn't even comprehend. "They're following the exact attack pattern we predicted," Victor observed, highlighting the enemy fleet's formation. 3 waves of capital ships, support vessels in a standard protective screen. They're not even bothering to mask their approach. Why should they? Isabella replied, her tone sardonic. As far as they know, they're about to subjugate a civilization that can barely maintain its ancient warships. Begin final countdown for Operation Silent Vanguard. All systems remain in hibernation until my direct command. Deep within the hidden fleet, quantum computers ran final diagnostic checks. Weapon systems remained primed beneath powered-down exterior panels. The metamaterial hull plating continued its perfect deception, showing only decay and neglect to any observer. "Message from Mars Base Epsilon," announced Lieutenant Vega. "Commander Kane reports all quantum stealth systems are functioning at peak efficiency. The Dominion's advanced scouts are still reading our ships as powered down." Isabella moved to the central tactical platform, where a 3-dimensional representation of the solar system showed both fleets' positions. The Dominion's ships appeared as red markers, moving with the confidence of an uncontested invasion force. Humanity's vessels showed as seemingly harmless blue dots, scattered throughout the system in what appeared to be random positions. But there was nothing random about their placement. Each ship was precisely positioned according to quantum battle algorithms that had taken years to perfect. When the trap was sprung, the Dominion would find itself caught in a web of its own making. "New data packet from the quantum entanglement sensors," Victor reported suddenly. "The Void Swarm has increased its pace again. At current velocity, it will reach Dominion space within 2 years. Then we're officially out of time," Isabella declared. "We can't wait any longer to show them the truth. Send the final alert to all command staff, Operation Silent Vanguard begins in 48 hours. Throughout the solar system, automated maintenance drones continued their slow dance around the fleet, maintaining the illusion of basic upkeep on obsolete vessels. But beneath the deception, humanity's greatest technological achievements waited for the moment to reveal themselves. The Dominion's pride had led them exactly where humanity wanted them. Soon, they would learn that appearances could be deceiving, and that sometimes the most dangerous predator was the one that appeared to be prey. Awakening. High Admiral Kexthor of the Dominion expansion fleet stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Eternal Glory, watching with barely concealed disdain as his ships approached the human fleet. The massive viewscreen showed what appeared to be ancient vessels drifting in formation, their hulls scarred by decades of micrometeorite impacts. "Final analysis of their defensive capabilities," he asked, mandibles clicking in amusement. "Primitive fusion drives, basic plasma weapons, and minimal shield technology," his science officer reported. "Their most advanced vessels appear to be at least 3 centuries behind our current technology level. The automated maintenance systems seem to be the only thing keeping them functional." "Send the final warning," Kexthor ordered. "Let's give these primitives one last chance to surrender before we show them what real power looks like." In the hidden command center on Titan, Admiral Rodriguez received the Dominion's transmission with a slight smile. She opened a secure channel to all fleet commanders who waited in stasis, their consciousness synchronized with their ship's quantum cores. "Operation Silent Vanguard is now active," she announced. "All vessels, initiate awakening sequence on my mark." The Dominion fleet moved into attack formation, their ships arranging themselves in a classic encirclement pattern. High Admiral Kexthor watched with satisfaction as his forces surrounded the seemingly helpless human vessels. "No response to our final warning," his communications officer reported. "Their ships remain powered down. Only minimal life support readings detected." "Begin the demonstration," Kexthor commanded. "Target their furthest vessel with a low-power energy burst. Let's show them how hopeless resistance would be." The Dominion warship Righteous Thunder powered up its smallest weapon bank, targeting a human vessel that appeared to be nothing more than a floating museum piece. The energy beam lanced out across space, and passed straight through the target. What? Kexthor leaned forward in his command chair. Report. Impossible, his tactical officer exclaimed. The target, the energy readings are changing. Across the battlefield, humanity's sleeping fleet began to awaken. The weathered hull plates rippled like liquid metal, shedding decades of artificial decay in moments. Hidden weapon ports snapped open, revealing technology that the Dominion sensors couldn't even classify. Now, Admiral Rodriguez commanded, and throughout the solar system, stasis pods hummed to life. Captain Elena Santos awoke in her command chair aboard the quantum dreadnought Defiant, her mind instantly connecting with her ship's advanced systems through neural interfaces that the Dominion had dismissed as primitive life support equipment. Around her, her crew awakened from their long sleep, each member instantly combat-ready. All quantum systems online, her tactical officer reported. Metamaterial camouflage disengaged. Weapons hot. The Dominion fleet reeled in shock as what they had thought were decrepit warships transformed before their eyes. The dull, pitted hulls now gleamed with an inner light, powered by energy sources that defied their understanding. Impossible. Kexthor roared as his sensors tried to make sense of what they were seeing. These readings, they can't be right. Their power signatures are off the scale. High Admiral, his science officer's voice shook. We're detecting quantum-level technology we've never seen before. They're ships, they're not just armed, they're generations ahead of our best vessels. Elena's voice cut across all communication channels, broadcasting on frequencies that the Dominion didn't even know existed. This is Captain Santos of the Earth Defense Force. Your sensors now show you our true capabilities. We suggest you reconsider your position. The Dominion fleet scrambled to raise shields and charge weapons, but they were already too late. Humanity's ships moved with impossible grace, their quantum drives allowing them to dance through space in ways that shouldn't have been possible. Target their weapon systems only, Admiral Rodriguez commanded through the neural network. Remember the Lazarus Protocol. We need them alive and their ships intact for what's coming. Beams of concentrated quantum energy lanced out from the human vessels, bypassing the Dominion's strongest shields as if they weren't even there. Where they struck, weapon systems simply went dark, their power cores safely contained by fields that the aliens couldn't comprehend. How? Kexthor demanded as ship after ship reported weapons failing. How did they hide this level of technology from us? Because you saw what you expected to see, Admiral Rodriguez's voice came through on his command frequency. Your pride blinded you to the possibility that a seemingly primitive civilization might choose to hide its true capabilities. The battle, if it could even be called that, was over in minutes. The mighty Dominion fleet hung powerless in space, their weapons disabled by technology they hadn't even known existed. Not a single life had been lost, but the balance of power had shifted irrevocably. Now, Rodriguez continued, her voice firm but not unkind, we need to talk about the real threat approaching your territory. The same threat that forced us to advance our technology far beyond what you see here while maintaining the illusion of weakness. On his command deck, High Admiral Kexthor watched in stunned silence as the human ships took up protective positions around his disabled fleet. The vessels that his civilization had dismissed as relics now revealed themselves as the most advanced warships he had ever encountered. Rising dawn. Titan Command Center buzzed with activity as Admiral Rodriguez projected the latest Void Swarm data to the assembled Dominion leadership. The quantum hologram showed the cosmic horror's inexorable advance toward civilized space, its dark mass consuming everything in its path. This is why we hid our true capabilities, she explained to High Admiral Kexthor and his senior staff. We needed everyone, including you, to believe we were harmless. The swarm adapts to any technology it encounters. By keeping our advances secret, we've maintained the one advantage we'll have against it. The Dominion leaders watched in horror as the recording showed the fall of the Centauri Collective. Their supposedly invincible warships crumbled before the swarm's onslaught, their most powerful weapons proved useless. Your fleet's weapons would have been equally ineffective, Commander Kane explained, his cybernetic eye projecting additional data streams. The swarm adapts to any technology it can detect. But our quantum phase weapons operate on principles it's never encountered. Why? Kexthor asked, his pride giving way to understanding. Why not just show us this threat? Why the deception? Would you have believed us? Captain Santos questioned from her position aboard the Defiant. Your civilization judges strength by what's visible. You would have dismissed our warnings, just as you dismissed our fleet as obsolete. The quantum sensors suddenly flared with new alerts. Dr. Tanaka's hands flew over the holographic controls. Multiple quantum ruptures detected at the edge of the system. The swarm has arrived ahead of schedule. The massive viewing screen showed reality itself tearing open as the cosmic horror began pouring into the solar system. What looked like living darkness began spreading across space, consuming asteroids and small moons in its path. All ships, battle formations, Admiral Rodriguez commanded through the neural network. Activate the Lazarus Protocol. Get those Dominion ships back online, we'll need every vessel for what's coming. The human fleet moved with perfect precision, their quantum drives allowing them to create complex three-dimensional formations that the swarm had never encountered. Captain Santos's voice rang through the command channel, quantum phase weapons charged. Ready to engage on your command. The Dominion crews watched in amazement as their disabled ships suddenly powered back up, their systems restored by technology they barely understood. Kexthor felt his command console hum to life beneath his hands. Your weapons won't affect the swarm, Rodriguez explained quickly, but your shields can still buy us time. Form up behind our front line. Let us handle the primary engagement. The void swarm struck with overwhelming force, but for the first time in its existence, it met something it couldn't immediately adapt to. The human fleet's quantum phase weapons tore through its defenses, their energy signatures shifting faster than the swarm could analyze them. Multiple swarm entities destroyed, Kane reported. Our weapons are effective, but it's learning. We need to end this quickly. Execute Operation Sunforge, Rodriguez commanded. The human fleet shifted formation again, their ships arranging themselves in a pattern that defied conventional physics. Energy began building between them, channeled through quantum links that the swarm couldn't detect. By the first stars, Kexthor whispered as he watched the human vessels create what appeared to be an artificial quantum singularity. What are they doing? Something we couldn't have done alone, Santos answered. The energy required would have torn our ships apart. But with your fleet's power cores linked to ours through the Lazarus Protocol. The singularity pulsed with blinding light as it drew in the void swarm, its quantum properties preventing the cosmic horror from adapting or escaping. In a final flash of reality-bending energy, both the singularity and the swarm vanished, leaving only empty space behind. The bridge of the eternal glory was silent as Kexthor processed what he had witnessed. His civilization had prided itself on its technological superiority, only to discover that they had been outmaneuvered by a species they had dismissed as primitive. We owe you an apology, he finally said, addressing Admiral Rodriguez. And perhaps our civilization owes yours a debt that can never be repaid. No apologies needed, Rodriguez replied. But perhaps this can be a beginning. Your civilization has much to teach us about visible strength. And we, perhaps, can share something about the power of patience and hidden wisdom. Throughout the solar system, the combined fleets of humanity and the Dominion began powering down their weapons. The human ships maintained their true forms now, no longer needing to hide behind masks of artificial decay. The greatest deception in human history had ended not in victory over an enemy, but in the salvation of those who would become allies. As the quantum sensors confirmed the swarm's destruction, Admiral Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. Sometimes the greatest strength lay not in displaying power, but in knowing when to reveal it.